The moment Nathaniel Harper looked up from his daughter's crumpled math worksheet and saw her standing across the crowded classroom, the air left his lungs as if someone had punched him straight in the chest. For a second, the noise of laughing parents and scraping chairs faded into silence. The fluorescent lights above flickered, or maybe it was just his vision blurring, because the woman adjusting her blazer near the teacher's desk wasn't just another polished executive parent. She was Victoria Hale, the girl who once promised him forever under a rusted bleacher in a small Ohio town, and the one he lost when life tore them apart. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the kind of love that refuses to stay buried, take a moment right now to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel. And tell me in the comments, do you believe first love ever truly fades? It had been 12 years since Nathaniel last saw Victoria. Back then, they were two teenagers with cheap sneakers and expensive dreams. He had planned to propose before graduation. She had planned to leave for college in Boston and come back for him. But his father's sudden heart attack changed everything. Nathaniel stayed behind to run the family hardware store. Victoria left for the Ivy League school she'd fought so hard to reach. Distance turned into silence, silence into pride, and pride into heartbreak. Now here she stood in a tailored navy suit that probably cost more than his pickup truck. Her honey brown hair swept into a sleek knot, her presence commanding the room without effort. Parents shook her hand with cautious admiration. The principal hovered nearby like a nervous intern. Nathaniel didn't need an introduction to understand what she had become. The whispers around him filled in the rest. She's the new CEO of Hale Tech Industries. She just moved the headquarters to Chicago. Billion-dollar valuation. Victoria Hale, CEO. Nathaniel suddenly felt painfully aware of his worn boots and flannel shirt. He had come straight from fixing a broken sink at the store before rushing to Lincoln Elementary for parent-teacher night. His 8-year-old daughter, Chloe, sat at her desk coloring quietly, unaware that her father's past had just walked back into his life wearing power heels. Being a single dad had hardened Nathaniel in ways he never expected. After his wife, Marissa, passed away from a rare autoimmune disease 3 years earlier, the world had narrowed to hospital bills, late-night fevers, and learning how to braid hair by watching online tutorials at 2 in the morning. Grief didn't give him time to process heartbreak. It handed him responsibility instead. He became both anchor and sail for Chloe, steadying her when she cried for her mother, and pushing forward even when exhaustion made his bones ache. He had convinced himself that chapter of love was closed. Until now. Victoria's gaze swept across the classroom, confident, composed, and then it landed on him. For a heartbeat, her expression didn't change. Then recognition hit like lightning. Her posture stiffened. The color drained slightly from her face. The polished CEO mask cracked, just enough for him to see the girl he once knew. Nathaniel looked down first. The teacher began her presentation about standardized test scores and classroom improvements funded by a generous corporate donation from Hale Tech Industries. Victoria was sponsoring new science labs for underserved schools. Of course she was. She had always been brilliant, ambitious, determined to change the world. He clapped politely with the rest of the parents, but his palms felt numb. After the meeting, parents gathered in small groups. Chloe ran up to him, beaming, holding a drawing of a rocket ship. He knelt, praising her bright imagination, grateful for the distraction. When he stood again, Victoria was only a few steps away. Up close, she looked the same and entirely different. The same warm hazel eyes, the same small scar near her eyebrow from when she fell off her bike at 16. But there was steel in her now. A quiet authority that came from boardrooms and billion-dollar decisions. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The silence wasn't empty, it was crowded with memories. Football games, late-night milkshakes, whispered promises about the future. Nathaniel felt exposed. He imagined what she must see, a widowed small-town store owner with calloused hands and permanent worry lines. He braced himself for polite indifference, for a handshake and a professional smile. But what he saw in her eyes wasn't judgment, it was grief. Over the next few weeks, Victoria's presence at the school became regular. She funded after-school programs, attended committee meetings, and somehow still managed to run a multinational company. Nathaniel told himself their encounters were coincidence. Yet somehow they kept crossing paths. In the hallway after drop-off, at the school fundraiser, near the parking lot as autumn leaves scattered across the pavement. Every interaction was cautious at first. Surface-level updates, careers summarized in safe sentences. He told her about the hardware store and Chloe's love for astronomy. She spoke about expanding her company into renewable energy and moving back to Ohio to open a Midwest branch. What she didn't say, what lingered between them, was why she never married. The truth surfaced unexpectedly one chilly evening at the school carnival. Chloe had run off toward the ring toss booth, and Nathaniel found himself standing beside Victoria near the cotton candy machine. Laughter and music filled the air, but their small corner felt strangely private. Victoria admitted she had searched for him once, years ago, after hearing about his father's passing. By then he was married. She didn't want to interfere. She poured herself into her career instead. It was easier to build an empire than risk breaking her heart again. Nathaniel felt something twist inside him. He confessed how he had almost called her dozens of times during those early years, but pride, and later, loyalty to his marriage, kept him silent. Life had moved them forward without asking if they were ready. The real challenge wasn't the past, it was the present. Nathaniel feared being overshadowed. He worried about the imbalance. Her wealth, her influence, her world of private jets and investor meetings. What could he possibly offer a woman like that? But Victoria began showing up not as a CEO, but as a person. She volunteered to help Chloe with a science fair project, kneeling on the Harper living room floor in designer jeans, glue sticking to her fingers. She laughed when the baking soda volcano exploded too early. She listened, truly listened, to Nathaniel talk about the struggle of keeping a small business alive against corporate chains. One evening, Nathaniel found out the local property developer planned to buy out several small stores on Main Street, including his. The offer was tempting, the pressure heavy. He felt cornered, insignificant compared to the powerful investors reshaping the town. Victoria surprised him again. Instead of swooping in with a checkbook, she offered strategy. She connected him with a small business coalition, guided him through grant applications, and used her knowledge to help him modernize the store's online presence. She treated his dream as worthy, not small. For the first time in years, Nathaniel felt seen, not pitied, not rescued, but respected. Chloe, perceptive beyond her years, began smiling more whenever Victoria visited. Grief had made their home quiet. Now laughter returned in cautious waves. Still, Nathaniel hesitated. Loving again felt like betrayal to Marissa's memory. It felt risky. What if he wasn't enough? What if history repeated itself? The turning point came on a snowy December night when Chloe performed in the school winter concert. Victoria sat beside Nathaniel in the auditorium. When Chloe stepped forward for her solo, her small voice trembling but brave, Nathaniel felt tears fill his eyes. Victoria reached for his hand instinctively. He didn't pull away. In that simple touch, he realized something profound. Love isn't a replacement, it's an expansion. His heart wasn't divided, it was growing. After the concert beneath soft falling snow outside Lincoln Elementary, Nathaniel finally allowed himself honesty. He told Victoria he was scared, of failing, of not measuring up, of losing her again. She admitted she was terrified too, that behind the CEO title was still the girl who once waited under bleachers believing in forever. Before we reach the end, I want to ask you something from the heart. If this story has touched you even a little, comment second chances below. Let's fill the comments with hope and remind each other that it's never too late for love. Nathaniel realized that strength doesn't come from titles or bank accounts. It comes from showing up, from staying when things are hard, from choosing someone not because they're impressive, but because they feel like home. Months later, Hale Tech Industries announced a major investment in small-town entrepreneurship programs across Ohio. Harper Hardware unveiled a renovated storefront, blending tradition with innovation. And on a quiet spring afternoon, Nathaniel and Victoria sat on a wooden bench outside the store while Chloe chased dandelions across the sidewalk. There were no grand speeches, no dramatic gestures, just two people who once loved, lost, and found their way back. Older, scarred, wiser. Nathaniel understood now that freezing in that classroom hadn't been fear alone. It had been the shock of realizing that sometimes life circles back to the very place your heart first learned how to beat. If this story moved you, if it reminded you of someone you lost or someone you found again, please like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe for more stories that believe in redemption and grace. Your support keeps these stories alive. Because sometimes, the CEO in the room isn't the most powerful person there. Sometimes, it's the single dad who never stopped loving, even when he thought love had stopped loving him back.